Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this Coaching-Infused Conversation on the topic of lack of role model and the impact it has on us. So I'm Soto-Suarez. I'm the founder of Pistachio Cassis Coaching, and I call myself a self-leadership awakener. And my mission is to inspire, support, and empower mid-level professionals, especially those who feel stuck, overlooked, or on autopilot. And I help them take small but meaningful actions toward that better life, better career they dream of, and to do that on their own terms. What I'm going to do today is basically like a free food sample. It's to allow you to experience what I do and to see if you like my style, basically. Today's format really today's format, that LinkedIn Live, is great for if you want to rewatch it later on, or if you prefer to watch without actively participating, while still providing you with a space to reflect, to reconnect with yourself. And the goal is still for you to leave with something useful for you. Now, obviously, those type of conversations are a lot more effective if we are having an actual interactive conversation, which is not the ideal with this format, but you are still free, if you watch live, to comment. Try to keep an eye on the comment if the technology wants to work today. Otherwise, I will see them afterward and come back to you. Now, today, I would like you to treat this time together as if you were taking a pause in your busy life. And you take that pause and you kind of daydream and you get lost in your thoughts. And today's, you're thinking about that goal you really, really want to achieve. But because you don't see anybody like you doing it or having achieved that goal in the past, you think, it's not for me, so I'll just drop it. So first, when I speak of a goal, yes, it might be a goal like getting to a more senior position, but it can also be something more mundane, if you want, as in daring to share ideas with your boss or showing up more authentically at work. So it's whatever you want for you. And the other comment I want to make is when I say you don't see anybody like you. Yes, that refers to gender, to background, etc. But I'm also referring to maybe accent, if you have an accent. So as you can hear, I do have an accent and I'm not trying to get rid of it. I learned to live with it. So it can be accent, it can be language proficiency, if you're communicating in a language that is not your native one. It can be shyness, it can be lack of connection, etc. Whatever like you means for you. Okay. So you have that goal. You don't see anybody like you. So you say, it's not for me. But really today, when you're lost in your thought, you wonder what your life would be like if you actually had that role model showing you the way to achieve that goal. And that's what we're going to do today. Okay. So I'll ask you to start by thinking about one goal you really want to achieve that is very important to you. Whether it's a big one or a small one, it doesn't matter. But you don't see anybody like you having achieved that goal or working on this around you, so you just put it aside. Now I'm going to share, so keep that goal in mind to the conversation. I'm going to share one of mine so that I can use it as an example throughout. So one of my goals, and that's something I've been working for a few years now, is to become a thought leader, empowering mid-level professionals to follow their own path. So even myself, when I say that my goal is to become a thought leader, I feel a bit, oh, this is too much. That's not today's topic. And there's plenty of people in that world. I call that the empowerment world. But I don't see anybody like me. And by that, I mean that the thought leaders I see in that world, to me, they all seem to have had successful senior executive position before. They all seem to have a great network of people that help, that open door for them, or they all seem to be very sophisticated. And I don't recognize myself in that. And that's my perspective. Somebody else will have a different perspective. It doesn't matter. It's about how I view things. It's about how you view things around you. So that's the goal I'm going to use today as an example. Now, let's imagine that the reason we don't see anybody like us working on that goal or having achieved that goal in the past is because we are meant to be the first one. And if you're like me, it feels a bit scary, but we're having a good time today. Let's our imagination run wild. So we are supposed to be the first one. So let's be the first one. So let's imagine future us, future you, has achieved that goal and is the first one like you to have achieved that goal, and you're receiving an award for it. The day of the ceremony arrived and you are ready to get on stage to receive the award. And the master of ceremony is introducing you. So now take a moment to imagine how that master of ceremony introduces you. What word do they use and how you feel about it? So, for example, for me, I hear words like, she just followed her path. She went for it. She didn't let the fact that she was the first one in a circle to do something like this. She didn't let that stop her. She broke through her fears. So things like that. And I know I can imagine myself hearing those words, and I know I would feel pride. Let's be honest there. I would feel fulfilled, to that sense of fulfillment, satisfaction you get when you've achieved something you really want to do that is really important to you. I would also feel relief, the relief that I've maybe proven to myself that I could achieve that goal. So that's me. So, I know it's an unexpected question for you, but what's coming up to your mind when you think about you getting that award for achieving that goal that is so important to you right now, and being the first one like you to achieve that goal? Yeah, imagine what kind of words do you feel coming up in your mind? What feeling do you have when you hear those words said about you? And, if you can, make some notes on a piece of paper or whatever on the side. Yeah, just make a note of what's coming up and share in the comments if you want, of course. Now, future you is on the stage receiving the award, but present you is actually in the audience watching future you, their role model, basically getting the award. How does present you feel seeing that ideal, perfect role model for yourself on stage? So, for example, for me, I think the main feeling I would have is, again, that sense of relief. But this time, it's a relief of having found a North Star. So I've got a direction to go toward, even though I know I still have to find my way to get there. But I've got that direction that I didn't have before. So for me, it's a huge sense of relief. Now, how about you? How do you feel? How does present you feel seeing that perfect role model, that person that is really like you and who has achieved what you want to do? And again, it's whatever comes up. So it may be unexpected words, it may be vague, whatever comes up may overlap, it doesn't matter. Make a note of what's coming up. And again, if you want to share, feel free to do so. Okay, so now, what does present you sees in future you? And by that, I mean, what are defining traits, defining characteristics that present you see in future you in their role models? And for today, I'll actually challenge you to identify 3 on the spot. So for me, for example, those traits would be like the ability to make fact-based decisions. Another trait would be to not be let down by the lack of network. And I would say the third one is not caring about what people think, about what I'm doing. So those are 3 defining traits that I see in future me, in my role, my ideal role model. Now, how about you? What traits, what characteristics do you see in your ideal role model, basically? And make a note of them. And again, whatever comes up, even if you have no idea where this comes from, it's this exercise really is about letting your mind wander in directions it doesn't normally go, because those are simple but unexpected questions. So make a note of what's coming up. Now, basically, what we've done is do a very high level description of your role model, of the role model you need to support, inspire, and empower you to move forward with your goal. And you can do, you can redo the exercise if you want on your own time and go deeper in that, of course. So now that you have some defining traits, characteristic of your role model, look around you, and that can be real people or fictional characters too. So look around you and see who already has some of those traits, even if it's just a little bit. It doesn't matter. But identify who around you, real or fictional, has some of those traits. So, for example, for me, my parents definitively have some of those. Famous people like Oprah Winfrey. So, somebody I know of her, but obviously I don't know her. I don't have any connection with her, but she's still in my circle in one way. And a lot of fictional characters. That's always been very important for me, those fictional characters. So, think about who you know, directly, indirectly, in real life or not, and write them down, but leave a space at the top of the list. Okay, take a moment to do that. And again, whoever comes up, doesn't matter if you're not quite sure why that person's name comes up. Now, we left some space at the top. Let's put our name at the top. And that's because basically, if future you or future us, if I include myself in it too, already has those defining traits, it means we in the present already have them. We just haven't activated them. Okay, so our name is at the top. Now, let's look at how we can activate those traits. Obviously, today it's a very limited time, so we won't be able to do all of them. But let's pick one of them and let's brainstorm what events need to happen to allow that activation. And note that I said events. I am not yet saying what you can do about it. So when I say events, it can be something that is not under your control. And it can, of course, be something that would need maybe additional research, additional learning, additional support. It doesn't matter. What type of events would need to happen to activate that trait? So, for example, for me, if I take the traits related to fact-based decisions, so what type of events need to happen? Well, there's need to know about my present situation, awareness about my present situation. Another event would be related to what I call the upgrades that I need to get to where I want to go to. And another event would be options available to me. So as you see, just very broad, kind of vague. It doesn't matter. Right now, it's about brainstorming. And I would challenge you to find 3 right now. So it's really whatever comes on top, at the top of your head, and make a note of them. I'm just checking if there's any comments. Okay, so we've defined a few events that need to happen to activate that specific defining traits. Now, pick one of those events and again brainstorm what you can do about this event. So right now we are really talking about you and what you can do. But we're still in the world of, maybe it's something you can do now, or maybe later on. Maybe you need additional resources to do it. Maybe you don't know yet how to do it. It doesn't matter, but it's something that is connected to you taking action. So, for example, for me, if I take the event related to, I think I've called it upgrading, the upgrade that I need to get to where I want to go, what action can I take? I can take actions related to education, training. I can take action related to practicing. I can also take action about getting known in that world. And obviously all that depends on the event that you picked, but also on your circumstances. So even if you picked something similar to me, you would probably arrive at very different actions. Doesn't matter, because this is about you and what you are thinking of right now. Okay. So now you have a few actions you can take, but they're pretty big, they're undefined, they're long term, still a bit scary and not easy to take because you don't know where to start. So let's pick one of those. And obviously, if we had a lot of time, we would keep going and reducing the size of the action and keep going, etc., etc. Today, we do not have that time. So I'll ask you to pick one of those actions and to think about what it is you can do today about this action. So when I said today one because it means it's got to be something simple, something you can do right now, something where you already have all the resources to do it. And the other reason I say today is because it increases the likelihood of you actually taking action. So if I say something to do this week, well, let's face it, life will take over quite quickly after this conversation, and you're a lot less unlikely to take the action. So that's why I'm saying today, pick one action that you've just identified and brainstorm very quickly, whatever comes up, what it is you can do today about it. So, for example, me, if I take the action related to practicing more, well, how could I practice more? I could practice more by doing this type of event, but as a workshop format for a networking organization, for example. So obviously that's not something I can do today. But to even do that, I need to connect with a networking organization, which means I need to have identified a number of organizations to connect with. So something I can do right now, today, is to take a break. Maybe after this conversation, I'll take half an hour coffee break and I'll do some research on networking organization. Now, let's say my day is fully packed today and I don't have time to take half an hour and do something new. Well, what I could do, I could schedule time in my calendar to do that later on. So today's action would be to schedule time. So it can be very simple. So how about you? What can you do today about the action you've picked? What's it? And you go for the smallest, easiest thing you can do. It doesn't matter. This is about starting. And this is about getting into the habit of taking actions, even if they are very, very small. So I hope that by now, while I was talking, you've identified something came up, you're scheduling something, you're making a note in your phone or on a post-it, whatever works better for you. And you've got one small action for today in mind. Now, imagine you are taking that action today. And then you take another small one, maybe next week. And then you take another one and you keep going. And the small action becomes slightly bigger action. The weekly action becomes maybe twice a week and then 3 times a week. And you get to the end of the year and you realize you've made substantial progress on that goal. So how do you feel having made all that progress? What is changing in your life? What are you gaining because you're taking small actions? But now let's be realistic and let's consider what's most likely to happen right after this conversation. ends. You will get back to life. And life is likely to take over again, which means that you are unlikely to take the action, which means that you get to the end of the year and nothing has changed. How do you feel? What is still the same that you really, really don't like? What have you lost because you didn't take action? How does that compare to the version where you are taking action? And which of those two versions do you prefer? The version where you take action or the version where you don't take action? And that's your choice. I'm not here to judge. You decide which one you prefer, or which one suits you more for now. You have to look at what's going on in your life too. Now, if you prefer the one where you are taking action, how do you increase your odds of success? That's a big question. That's a question I ask myself very often. And the answer is accountability. And really, it's about getting the support we need to hold ourselves accountable. So how do you do that? Well, first, actually, let me share a slide first. So how can you hold yourself accountable? First of all, you can sign up for my free accountability bonus. You have the QR code here, and I will put the link in the comments too while I'm talking. And this accountability bonus provides you with a series of 3 messages to remind you about today's conversation and also to nudge you to take that one action you decided on today or to take another action. Now, if you want a stronger accountability, you can, of course, schedule a call with me so that we can discuss how I could support you. Now, I know that scheduling a call with somebody can be scary for some people. It's something I've had to deal with personally too, where I have a lot of resistance to schedule a call. So what we can do instead is look at my upcoming events. You have the link on the slide. I've put it in the comments too. And you can attend some of the more interactive events, including a couple on this topic that are coming up in the next few weeks. So I'm going to let the slide on for the minute or so left of today's conversation so you can get the QR code if you're interested. So now, before we conclude today's conversation, I would like you, or I would advise you, to take a moment to reflect back on this conversation, even though I'm the one speaking, and hopefully you've been listening and you've had some new insight or some new perspective coming up, and also reflect on how you feel about being your own role model and how you feel about the action you've decided to take today. Thank you very much for listening to me, for attending, listening, and hopefully doing the exercise at the same time. I do hope that this has opened new options for you, and in a way that you don't get stopped by the lack of role model around you. So thank you so much for attending today. Have a great day, and I hope to see you at either one of my events or to speak to you on a call. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.